and a Tubi.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this brand new venture that we're doing off to the side. It's the side room in War Rocket Ajax, straight from the annals of Hail Ming. We're going to stay out of Ming's anal thing, though. It's probably not a good way to say this. Well, I don't know. Due to the subject matter of this show, maybe it's perfect. I don't know. But welcome
it's questionable.
Welcome to the very first episode of a series that may last long, it may not. We'll just see how this thing works out. But welcome to Three Men and a Tubi. I am one of your hosts, Hail Mingian, myself, Rick Morgan, along with my brother, as always, from Hail Ming, Mr. Danny Minute. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm here. I'm here to talk some Tubi, and I'm excited.
I think I called you Danny Minute. I don't know. Danny Minute. And also, the guy that's laughing hysterically in the background of our mistakes is the one and only Angry Ginger, Mr. Matthew Tangen. What's up, Matt?
What's up?
So, Matt came and visited Hail Ming a couple of episodes ago, by the time this comes out, in case you don't figure that out. And we decided to, Matt had this crazy idea of doing a crash and burn type series on Tubi. And I was dumb enough to say, that sounds fun. And Danny was like, yeah, I'm game.
Yeah, you did just jump right in there, man. You were like, yeah. You're really excited.
Yeah, well, I like taking chances on crap that, just crap.
Excited when other people come up with dumb ideas, too.
Yeah. So the whole objective of this is we're going to do deep dives here on the Tubi app. So if you don't know what Tubi is, it's an app you can get on your phone or on your computer, on your smart TV, and it's free movies. And surprisingly, a ton of free movies. Now, they do have commercials in them, so you got to deal with commercials, but hey, it's free movies. And you're going to see that, it's not just these movies we're talking about, but we're trying to find stuff that's just a little bit different. So the way I like to look at it is the three of us are going to be picking movies based off of the intrigue, right? Something about either the artwork or the name of the movie or the synopsis kind of makes you go, sure, I'll give it a shot, just like we used to do back in the day with VHS and DVDs. And it's the luck of the draw, and we may not be that lucky. But there is a plethora, there's a good word for you, of good movies on Tubi as well, i.e. Highlander is on Tubi.
Yeah.
Come on. One of the best movies the 80s had to offer. But that's not the stuff we're going to talk about, unfortunately.
Well, and I think that one of the things we discussed is using this platform as an opportunity to let people know, hey, we saw these movies on there that we know you'll like. But we're going to talk about something that we were unfamiliar with, so it's also kind of a guide. If you like our taste in movies in general, then chances are, we'll say, hey, here are 5 or 6 movies that we noticed they're on there. They're a guaranteed win, A+. If you don't have it at home, you want to check it out, it's free.
Or, hear me out.
Yeah. We
take chances on these movies and we go, yeah, unless you're just a bit demented, you probably don't need to watch this movie.
Yeah.
So this will be a rotating show. So Matt will pick the first movie, then Danny will pick the second movie, which we'll do a movie an episode. And then the third episode will be my pick, and we'll just rotate that way. And we're just all picking movies to our likings and sharing it with you, hoping that you build up the courage to check them out for yourself on Tubi.
Wait a minute. That's what rotating show meant? I spent half the week putting caster wheels on the bottom of my desk. I got kids, okay? I got kids.
Waka, waka, waka.
They're teenagers, but they still laugh at it. Yeah.
Hey, what's hilarious? My granddaughter, Jade, loves Fozzie Bear, and she doesn't know how to tell a joke, but she just knows it's supposed to end with waka waka. She's just to say, "Hey, Pop, you know why birds have feathers? Because they do. Waka waka."
That's epic.
Why did the monkey fall out of the tree?
Yeah, she don't know that one.
That one's so,
Waka waka. Matt has the first pick, and we've all watched this, unfortunately, I think, or fortunately. But Matthew, share with these people what the name of this movie is.
All right, so just browsing through there, I'm a fan of cyborg flicks, so I decided to try to pick the one that looked the worst of all of them.
That's a good strategy.
yep.
So I found one called Sheborg, and it's also called Sheborg Massacre, and it's like a 2016 action Australian sci-fi flick, also
Exactly.
comedy.
Hey, it said the initial release was July the 4th, 2016.
Yep.
Hey, music composed by Kid Crusher.
Yep.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I mean, you just heard Matt say the thing that Danny pretty much just rolls his eye at. Is like, yeah, I looked for the worst movie I could find. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to read what this synopsis says about this movie, which says a fugitive alien crash lands in the middle of a puppy farm and mutates people into flesh-eating robots. And it's up to political activists Dylan and Eddie to defeat the evil Sheborg and save the world.
Yeah, that's what sold me on the movie. It sounds a little bit more epic than the movie actually is.
Yeah, that's true.
I would just like to see the storyboard that the movie makers had for this, because it kind of seemed like every time you thought it was zeroing in, it just pulled back out.
All right, so let's start this journey. Matt, kick it off, man.
Yeah, well, so the first thing I saw is this guy who made this, his name is Daniel Armstrong. I saw that I need to watch another one of his movies because apparently he made the first roller derby horror film called Murderdrome. It'll probably be bad, but I'm down to look that up for sure. So I really appreciate this. Just off the bat, I appreciated this movie had like it seemed like they had an outline of what they were going to do with the movie, and then they just kind of like made it up as they went along.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no doubt, man. So, and I said this during our conversation while viewing this earlier this week, was it reminds me of if Danny and I, back in the 90s, made a movie, it would probably come out a lot like this.
Yeah.
Because it is sporadic. There's tons of other movie references. It's cheap gore. Matter of fact, I think, Danny, didn't we do a movie like this?
We may have. We may have.
We'll have to dig that up again sometime and check it out.
I'm not against it, but I don't know where we'd find it.
I'm sure Mark's got it. It was his project.
Oh yeah, I might have a VHS copy actually, but yeah, but to the point, I mean, it's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it may have gone on a little too long. Actually, it did. It went on too long, but it was fun. Like, you know, the characters, you could tell they had a lot of fun with it. You could tell that people really enjoyed doing some stage combat. Like every few minutes, like whether they're fighting the cyborgs or whether they're fighting law enforcement or whether they're fighting each other, because they fight each other a lot too. It's just like, okay, now I'm going to punch you 4 times, and they've got this down. You know, they've got the whole like punching the meat, you know, in the locker, making the sound, and then people whipping their head back dramatically and kicking them in the nuts. I mean, they just have this. They've got some stage fighting tactics that they just really like to throw out as often as they can.
Because there's really, I mean, if you're fighting cyborgs from, you know, outer space or wherever they're from, there's not really need for a lot of scissor kicks, you know. But they pull them all out, man. They're taking people that are awkwardly not martial artists and make them do these stunts, man.
You're supposed to get that, like, that it works because the lady keeps saying, "I know kung fu," like 15 times in the movie.
Yes, she does.
She says it, yeah. So, I mean, like, and we're gonna have to mention the Big Trouble in Little China references, right?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's even son of a bitch must pay is in there, right?
Yeah. All right. I was just gonna say, so basically the premise is that there's these aliens, which aliens almost didn't need to be in the movie because it's barely a part of the movie. But just to describe where they came from, I guess. Some alien's gonna assassinate a cyborg. It goes bad after they puke all over her.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome.
It kind of is.
It's pretty awesome. So apparently alien puke is corrosive to cyborgs, and it's green, and it looks like they stole it off a Double Dare.
It's true.
and added like noodles and chunks. It's pretty nasty, but
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
And so I'm watching this thinking, well, is the cyborg a good guy, going to come to work, going to come to Earth and help them like institute some kind of change, like their cyborg buddy or something? Because like the good guys in this movie are like, I sentence you to death, and then two people start puking all over this person. I'm like, they cannot be the good guys of this movie, right?
It does seem like an oppressive regime. But then like you're like, no, the cyborg's even worse.
Hey, and you can't deny that during this whole thing where they're starting to puke on him, the definite Superman ripoff too of guilty, guilty, guilty.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been different if they all started puking on Zod.
That's what I was thinking, man. Jarrell just starts upchucking, right?
Dude, I'm calling for a reboot right now, just so we can see that happen.
Man, imagine those big heads in Superman if they were to start.
Oh God,
That's so perfect. And
All right,
Jarrell's
Matt,
over
where
here
we at?
going, whoa,
All right.
the heads.
I mean, I knew this was all going to go off course. It doesn't really matter, anyways.
No.
Right.
But anyways, that goes bad as predicted, right? And they crash land on Earth at a puppy farm, like you said,
Of all places.
of all places, right? Yeah. This movie, I have to say, it feels very 90s, even though it's like 2016. The music seems like some really bad, like industrial punk stuff that was around in the 90s.
Yeah, man. That's Kid Crusher, man. Kid Crusher.
Shout out to Kid Crusher, guys. Yeah.
And the band that is frequently placed on the screen, they're playing over some Devo. I know they are.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
listening to it and I'm like, that's a Devo song that they're just like playing their bad music over.
Yeah, we'll get to this this Tommy Lee guy here in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, I say notably, I guess that happens afterwards. I actually dug the opening credits scene.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad.
It's kind of cheesy, but it's awesome. Like one girl for some reason decides to spray paint a cop car. That's pretty legitly awesome.
Yeah,
and
it
then
is.
it looks like it should be in like THX 1138 or with those
Yep.
cop cars. But anyways, she spray paints, and then the credits are over them getting chased by cops in slow motion as the credits appear on the ground and they jump over them.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I agree. I thought that was really neat. I mean, like it looked, to your point, it looked like it was mid 90s, and it looked like it was kind of new technology for mid 90s. It also really worked well.
I thought
Yeah.
it was fun. Yeah.
It was fun. But they run into, was it when they run into your guy you're talking about, the Tommy Lee guy, which his name is
Yeah.
actually Rick.
Right.
Yeah. There you go.
He's like
Oh.
he's like a douchey band guy that's trying to like say, I want to free the puppies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like if you took Tommy Lee and mixed him with Jay and Silent Bob both, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a heel.
He's a knucklehead. He's playing the game of wanting to be an activist, but deep down he really, it's in his heart, but it's just not. It's not his bag.
Right.
Neither is being in a band, but anyways.
Yeah.
Nope.
He's kind of like, I made T-shirts, and that's part of my activism, and I'm got a flyer, and let's go to this puppy farm, and you want to make out, he's...
That's it.
He's like, you're wearing my shirt. She's like, no, I'm wearing my shirt.
And I like Dylan, our main protagonist. She's pretty she's pretty cool.
She reminds me of somebody. I can't place it, but I don't know if it's from another movie, but just her actions and everything just really remind me of somebody.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's definitely kind of a blasé protagonist. Like, it doesn't really fall into her anarchy promotion, so she gets pissed off about it. It's like, I'm the one that's supposed to care about stuff.
It's like, I don't like that look in your eyes.
Yeah, so moving on, what about the doctor?
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. The doctor is strange. So like, yeah, there's puppy farms out there, but the fact that she's like a Dr. Mengele gets enjoyment out of injecting like cosmetics into puppies.
Yeah, like, because the whole activism thing, that's a puppy farm, it's like a puppy mill here. It's simultaneously, breeding these animals for experimentation and also doing heinous things to them. So that's why this is and it's also kind of an outdoor kind of thing built of sheds and like tent walls and stuff, which I guess is what the movie makers had available.
The name of the place is Hog Swallow Animal Shelter. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah.
And they keep showing it, so obviously they wanted you in on that joke.
We have to ask the witch if he knows where Hog Swallow is, because I bet it's somewhere. I bet he's been there.
Possibly. But yeah, the fact of even though this activism stuff is happening at this puppy mill, it's also where our cyborg hero crash lands. It's like, how much can happen at one puppy mill, right?
Right?
It's a collision course with wackiness.
Yeah, it is.
Cue the Benny Hill music.
So the doctor's terrible. The cyborg's terrible. The main characters are misguided.
Yeah.
The puppy mill is awful. If you like watching like people try to gross you out, then you probably like this movie. Like, you know, there's a lot of like people shoveling gross viscera in their mouths, like at weird times.
Yep.
Like, I got an eyeball. I'm going to eat this eyeball. You know, it's just kind of gratuitous there.
Yeah, they're going for that kind of dead alive, gross out kind of thing, right? Where it's just really over the top. Even the bodies that they show later on that are kind of disintegrated have a very first Evil Dead kind of look, where, you know, the skeleton with the oatmeal pumping out of its sleeve. I mean, it's got that kind of that kind of breakdown to it going on. So you can tell where they're kind of pulling a lot of this stuff from. But you know what? For a homemade low budget film, they pull it off pretty good, man.
You know, it kind of reminds me of Versus, you know, where it's like, I want this many different kinds of fight scenes in this movie, and so I'm just going to make sure they all happen. It's kind of like the filmmakers were like, we need to make sure we make use of this car, make use of this van, make use of these prosthetics, you know, like, it's like they had things they needed to use, and they wanted to make sure they crammed them all into this movie. And
just the fact of the Sheborg doesn't really do a lot. I mean, she sits in a car for an hour and 20 minutes. It's like, okay, she creates a couple of other people that become like cyborgettes. I don't know what you call them, but cronies. She starts turning all the townspeople into mini cyborgs, and they start doing all of her bidding while she sits in the car and sucks up the power out of car batteries.
Yeah, I felt that was a little false advertising.
Just a little.
That's how I knew the movie was going to keep going. Well, I was like, well, they haven't revisited the cyborg yet, so this movie's not over.
And just the fact of, even when you knock off these people and you like break their little circuitry or whatever, and then they just come back later on, it's like, okay, this movie's really going to have a lot of filler in it.
But they start, and then I love the effects for the cyborg people. I mean, they just basically found whatever they had laying around set and like stuck it to their face.
Sure.
Just random tubes and pieces of toasters and stuff.
Yeah, that's all you got to have, man.
and you know, like, they all have the one eye, you know, because that's the cyborg, right?
Right, that's a cyborg.
Pretty much,
thing.
you can't be a cyborg unless you have one cybernetic eye. It's like, well, what if it's just from the waist down? What if I just have a cyborg legs? Well, then you're not really a cyborg.
No, it doesn't count.
That's just prosthesis.
But yeah, it's weird too. Like, so they eat energy. All of them do. Yeah. But at the same time, they, like, I guess the bodies need sustenance, so they eat puppies and like the Sheborg has like a tentacle that comes out and like sticks into people when she feeds too.
Yeah.
And that was a great effect. It's like, get the camera on one side of her head. Okay, now open your mouth.
I come in peace.
Oh,
leave in pieces.
It was still fun though. I mean, like, and to your point, man, they're the puppies. Like, that's what I'm talking about with the gore. It's like there's this unnecessary, like, the puppy's still alive moment where where a main character has to kill it with a shovel, and it's like, why is this? Is this what you want?
Well, how about the fact that all the puppies are just literally like dollar store stuffed animals, and they just cut them open, put some blood in them. There you go. There's your puppies.
It worked for me. I believed it.
I think that might have been what kept off the PETA people.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty bad.
So, I mean, you got this revolving door in this movie of cybernetic minions. You got the cyborg, and then she makes some minions, and then they make some minions, and then those minions get dispatched but come back later. And they get hit by cars, and they get thrown off of balconies, and they get beat down and beat up, and it just kind of keeps going.
They quote
Yeah, a lot
John
of shovel
Travolta and
damage.
Nicolas Cage. I want to take your face off.
Take your face off and put this face on. That went on. It was funny, but it went on for a long time.
Yeah, you could tell they were just like, hey, we need 45 seconds of extra here, so just go with it. And of course, there's the scene where she walks down the staircase and she's doing her hand. It's got the needles on all the fingers, like, obviously a Freddy Krueger kind of thing. And she's dragging her fingers down the wall, like coming after our hero. And you're just like, yeah, you can see where all of this stuff is coming from. But you know what? It's pretty fun.
It is. My hat is off to the filmmakers. I mean, I if I made a
That's
movie,
my hat. You set that one up perfect, man.
But I also say that the doctor, while you said Freddy, her character, not so much the other ones, reminds me a bit of the Cenobites, the way that she was altered to be resemblance of something she did.
Yeah.
And she she enjoys the torture. That was definitely Hellraiser to me. I mean, at least like the later crappy Hellraiser.
You could tell they felt the need to lean on that actress because
Yeah.
she was willing to do a whole lot of stuff for that film, and also she wasn't bad, but she got kind of silly, like when she's walking around with that big pink cloth wrapped around her head, and like I guess so they reveal what she looks like later, which she didn't look any different. But like, she's sneaking up on people wearing this cloth bag over her head, and I don't know why.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Does it?
She takes it off. It's like, the big difference is she's got the cyborg eye. Like it's a toaster stuck to her head. All right.
Didn't she have that already?
I think she got damaged. Is why she did that.
Oh, and she was talking about wanting a new face because hers was all messed up. So yeah, maybe that's it.
That's right.
Plus, she didn't. I guess she's walking around, so she doesn't want to bring too much attention to show what her face looks like. So she wraps a cloth all over her head and walks around.
But you know what? All that's redeemed when she starts slamming girls' head in that car door.
Dude.
Though, man.
Oh yeah,
That was rough.
that's brutal. There's some really brutal scenes in this movie, actually, randomly.
Yeah.
And the fighting is all practical effects, and they try to spice it up with some special effects. Like there's a little digital effect in there. When she gets her head slammed in, there's like that blood mist that they throw in, which doesn't look great.
Yeah.
But right before that, our main character gets her face smashed through a car window, and that looked really good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, of course, it's that thing where you're oversaturated with the effects. But there's some stuff that really looks good, and then there's some stuff you're like, okay, you could have left the puppies out because that looks like crap. But, I just think about if we were trying to do something like this, the RFX may not look as good as this did. So
True.
It did feel like the kind of spoof movie mentality where you grab a handful of darts and you throw it at a dartboard, and
right.
some stuff's gonna hit, some stuff's not, but eventually something's going to because you have so much stuff going on.
I tell you, there for a second, I really thought we were going to have another I Come in Peace because when Sheborg lands, and then you get the other alien that comes down. That's the white-headed, and they have the big throwdown out there at the puppy mill.
Right.
I kind of thought, okay, it's going to be one of those, the chase after, and they meet up with this group of anarchists, and they all team together. But no, they threw the dart at something else on that one.
I think they only did that for that end scene where they find the gun again laying there. Because, I thought the same thing. I was like, is this going to be like the alien teaches and lead him along the way to fight this? Just like that, or a warlock.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Well, and you had the one alien enthusiast in the group who was like, oh, it's something fell from space. It's little green men. And you could tell she was somebody's sister who just really wanted to play that Star Trek t-shirt out.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's the science nerd. You got to have them, right? That's just kind of, we are in the Big Bang Theory, thing.
Era. No one's going to help you.
Something.
Thing. It's clobbering time.
And she definitely looked like the Velma part with a bit of X-Files mixed in.
True. And I really liked, like, part the way through, you know, where Eddie, I guess it is, she's like, well, you need to reverse the polarity and make this. She's like, reverse. I don't even know what polarity is.
I don't know
She's
what
like,
polarity is.
well, can you do it with your laptop? She's like, it's a laptop.
Yeah, you got to jam the signal. Yeah, how do you do that? It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was.
And then she did Back to the Future references too. She said something about gigawatts or
Yep.
flux capacitor.
I think my favorite reference is the second Big Trouble in Little China. At least the second one I counted, where they're
Right.
breaking out of the police station. She's like, now from here on out, you're gonna follow me. We're gonna hide this way. I'm gonna distract them there. And they open the door, and there's the gong sound. That's the exact same. And it's a room full of cops.
Yeah.
And she goes, we might be trapped.
You got that. You got Mess with the Bulls. You get the horns. You get E.T. phone home. I mean, there's a ton of them.
Oh, kick the tires and start the fires.
Yep.
That was in there twice.
We're gonna need a bigger cage. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So what else?
I have to say I give this movie some credit for putting unnecessary anal probing scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the guy brought it up because, what are you going to do, anal probe me? She's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, you brought it up.
And then he has the danger sound because, okay, when they go to rescue the puppies, there's the three of them. And they get separated, and he gets captured. The guy gets captured, and there has the danger sound. And the danger sound is... So they're looking
he's
for
anal probing him, man. He's just going crazy. Caw-caw! Caw-caw! Caw-caw!
He's just screaming, yeah.
Yeah, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think you're right there, Matt. That did add something to the movie. It was a great joke, but it was just funny.
I'm telling you, Danny, this reminds me of us grabbing those movies at Ingram and going to the house and watching them. I mean, this is this kind of thing. So I'm already convinced this show is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm not sure I'd recommend it though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's just a matter of what you like. There's a lot of people that love this kind of stuff. Again, I don't know that I would watch it again, but I had a blast watching it, actually.
I'll admit, I watched it twice.
I mean, like,
What?
I think I have a good time watching this kind of thing with a group of people, and I just don't sit down and watch movies with a group of people anymore. That's probably what box this podcast is ticking.
Well, I don't know
gotcha,
that.
yeah.
I think this episode does. I think it's going to vary by who picks the movie, and that's the beauty of this. I think because we all love a certain style of movie, but we all kind of fray off at these other things too. And I think it's going to be cool to see what we bring into this. And you know, this is not a good movie, but it was fun, and we just had a show where we talked about it, and we didn't come out going, "I couldn't wait for it to end." You know,
That's true.
It was actually fun.
I did mention how long it was, but I wasn't suffering through it. I was just surprised that it was still going.
Yeah, it's kind of like, shouldn't this be over by now because you kind of ran out of ideas? Oh, no, they're back. They're back alive. Okay, never mind. Game on.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was their out. They pull the wires and they go down, but then like they just keep popping back up. You're like, oh, I thought that was the out to make this movie get over sometime.
Yeah, and they even mention it. They're like, well, that will only take them down for a few minutes. It's like, oh, but you know that. Okay. It's just you got to plug it back in, but they can't do it themselves. So somebody else has got to go over there and plug them back in. I don't.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Who's the guy that goes around and does that, right? And all he does is go around and replugs people. All right, I don't know. Do we want to come up with a rating system for this, or are we just fine saying, nope, it's all right?
I just wanted to bring up. I thought it was hilarious the whole part with the weed eater because you have to work that in.
Oh yeah.
And that scene was cool. And then when they were describing what happened, they're like, "Oh, they attacked us with a whippersnipper." So apparently in Australia, it's called a whippersnipper.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're probably a lot stronger in Australia. I mean, look at the grass they got to cut, right?
And did you see it? It had like a harness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the whippersnipper thing. I'm glad you brought it up.
But that was when they figured out the alien puke or blood would melt them because they started throwing it. And that was the Evil Dead stuff, really. It was because when the guy started melting, they started having stuff. The guy looked down and his arm was gone. It was puking stuff out of his sleeve.
Right.
Oh, gross.
That's it. I mean, that's, again, you can just, oh, yep, I know where that came from. So, I mean, that's why I guess I don't have a problem with this, because I would do exactly the same thing, you know?
Yeah, well, they were ambitious. I like I said, I really think I'm impressed with their ability to say, well, we got some stuff we want to do, and we're going to keep doing this until we get it all done.
What I like about this, because it's the fact of, these are filmmakers trying to do the best they can with what they got and having fun with it, versus somebody that's just trying to make a bad movie, you know?
Right.
There's nothing that bothers me more than somebody that's trying to make a bad movie, because, you know, what's the point?
Agreed.
I mean, so, cool. That's my thoughts on it.
So
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
To your point, do we want to do a rating system?
I don't know that it's necessary. We kind of sold it or unsold it to people by talking about this stuff, but we can if we want to.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. We can decide
What if we
later
do
if we want to.
We could do a and a level. Rick, what'd you think? What'd you think, Danny? That's 2 and 1
We could do that.
All right, so let's do it and make it official. So, all right, folks, we're gonna try a rating system here, which is called So, Matt, what'd you think about it? Danny. And myself, I say So that's 2 and There you go, folks. Job completed.
Thanks, Tubi.
Thanks, Tubi.
Yep. So if you feel brave enough, check this movie out. Let us know what you think about it. We're probably going to make us our own little page for this kind of thing, and come hang out with us. I mean, it's probably not built just yet, but be on the lookout. If you're following Hail Ming, you're going to find the links and stuff there. But I don't know, man. This was fun.
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah, I did too.
Cool. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I think I had an idea to throw out a couple recommends, like maybe for stuff that we know are good.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I grabbed a couple that were kind of associated with this topic too. So I grabbed a Mega Doom is on there. That's an old Rutger Hauer film, and it's kind of like a western with cyborgs, or like a mob movie, because he comes into town and he plays the sides against each other to try to for his own personal gain. It's a pretty awesome flick.
If you're just looking for something free on Tubi, MXC is on there. You know, most extreme elimination challenge. If you remember that from the early days of what was that network? It was anyway. Yeah, it's
Spike.
Spike Network, and they showed this. It's like an overdubbed Japanese game show where they didn't bother to try and actually dub what they were saying. They just made jokes, and it's great.
It was a guy. The announcer's name was Guy Ledouche.
Guy Ledouche was the field reporter, and then it was Vic Romano and Kenny Blankenship.
Yep.
They're two Japanese guys in samurai outfits. Kenny Blankenship.
I love that show.
Yeah, so that's on there. So that's fun.
And my pick is American Ninja, yo.
Hell yeah.
Do the cough in action. So that's what I'm saying, man. There's a treasure trove of goodness and badness. So take your chances.
Yeah, all spectrums of the rainbow.
It's true. It's true. They have a hidden gem section, and it all looked bad.
It's because they're hidden gems, man.
They're hidden in turds, dude. It's just more turds.
Maybe they misspelled it. It's supposed to be hidden gems, like Jim. It's all got movies with guys named Jim in them.
That's probably
hidden gems. All right, we done?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, everybody. We will talk to you later. Bye.